Square roots and cube roots, video B. I can simplify expressions with square and cube roots. So remember, an expression is something that expresses a number or a value, and it doesn't have an equal sign. So here we go. This is an expression because it doesn't have an equal sign. And this is real, I think real straightforward. You guys are going to do great on this. What's the square root of 16? What times itself is 16? Well, 4. Minus what times itself is 4? 2. And so our final answer here would be 2. That easy. You look at the expression and you begin simplifying one thing at a time, following this if necessary. Pemdas, order of operations. In this case, there weren't really any order of operations that we had to deal with, except for we had to know to take care of our exponents before subtraction. And just so you guys know, even though this is a square root symbol, it's considered an exponent. I'll just say this, and I'm not expecting you guys to know this yet, but this means the same thing as 16 to the 1/2 power. Okay, just so you know. So these are considered exponents when it comes to PEMDAS. So you do those before subtraction or anything like that. But then there's something I want to point out. When I'm asking you to do, or when anyone really asks you to simplify expressions like this, consider the positive value of the square root. Like, I know that this should be plus or minus 4, and this should be plus or minus 2. But if we did that, then there'd be so many different possible answers. And for right now, I'm not worried about us going into all the different possible answers. I'm just worried about you evaluating it based on the positive value of the square roots. So, if I just ask you in isolation, what's the square root of 16? I want you to say plus or minus 4. But in a situation like this, where you actually have to do some calculations with other square roots or maybe even cube roots, just use the positive number to do that. So positive 4. Example 2, cube root of 125. I happen to know that's 5. So we have 5 minus 10. This is the cube root of 125 minus 10. So I've done my PEMDAS here. I've taken care of my exponents. And now I've got to take care of my subtraction. So now I'm at 5 minus 10, so negative 5. That's my final answer. All right, so it's really that simple. You're just kind of answering what the cube root of 125 is, throwing that into your expression and doing the math. Now we have to move into something that I think might be a little harder, but not too much. And this is just a property that if you have the square root of a fraction, or the cube root of a fraction, or really any root of any fraction, you can split it up into the root of the numerator over the root of the denominator. So let's see what that actually looks like with real numbers. So if I asked you what was the square root, let me change my color here. If I asked you what was the square root of 1/2, or no, 1/4, that'd be easier. That equals the same thing as the square root of 1 over the square root of 4, which equals what times itself is 1? Well, 1. And then what times itself is 4? Well, 2. And again, at this point, if they're asking you what the square root of 1/4 is, you can say plus or minus 1/2. Because this could have been a plus 2, or this could have been a positive 2, or a negative 2. Could have been a positive 1 or negative 1. So that's fine. But if this is part of an overall expression and you're doing the math to get to a final answer, just use the positive value. Just say, okay, it's a positive 1/2. Here's an example. So this is a cube root. Remember, I can split it. So I'm going to split it right now. It's the first thing I'm going to do, because I can figure this out a little easier than trying to figure out what times itself is 825ths. I can do it a lot easier if I split it up. So I just rewrote the problem here. Okay, and so now what times itself is 8. Well, that's 2. I'm going to go to the next slide here. Oop, I have another example, so let me go over here. So we had the cube root of 8 over the cube root of 125. Didn't plan on running out of room. Sorry. Plus the square root of 4. Okay, so let's finish this problem out, and then I'll do our last example. Okay, so what times itself is 8? 2. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Down here, we already know what this is. This is 5 plus 2. In this case, I'm not worried about you saying plus or minus 2 because it's part of an expression. So I'm going to Keep it a little easier on you guys. So what's 2 plus 2 fifths? Well, we can write that answer nice and easy. 2 and 2 fifths. So there you go. That's simple. That's all I'm looking for here. Just to simplify these expressions down. Combine your numbers using Pemdas. Okay, last example. Word problems. A cubic aquarium holds, and I can't believe I didn't spell holds right. Let me fix that really quick. Holds 8 cubic feet of water. What is the length of each edge of the cube? Okay, draw a diagram. And it's okay if you include fish. That's cool because it's an aquarium. Anyways, I drew 2 fish. They happen to be goldfish because they're gold. And I filled it with water. Okay, so the question is, though, the math part of this is if it holds 8 cubic feet of water, what's the length of each edge of the cube? Well, if it holds 8 cubic feet, that means its volume, the volume must be 8 cubic centimeters. Or cubic feet. Man, I'm just going crazy here. Okay, there we go. 8 cubic feet of water. So what's the length of each edge of the cube? Well, we can take the cube root of this to get the answer. Because we want to know what times itself is 8. Well, in this case, it's 2 feet. That means the dimension right here would be 2 feet. This side length here would be 2 feet. And this side length here, or no, sorry, let's see, which one am I missing? I'm missing this one right here, this one on the inside. This one right here would be 2 feet. So the point is that, ooh, my water just changed color. That's not good. Okay, anyways, I'll have to clean the tank soon. The point is, with problems like this, draw a diagram, take the cube root, or take the square root, whatever it's asking you, and ask the question, does my answer make sense? If it can hold 8 cubic feet of water, what would each side length of, or each edge of the cube need to be? Well, 2, because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. That easy. Anyways, I hope I didn't butcher that example problem so badly that you have no idea what I'm talking about, but I have faith in you guys that you'll be able to do this regardless of the quality of this video. So good luck to you.